Bucky Barnes, Sebastian Stan stopped on by the Cannes Film Festival, where Hollywood refuses to go now because they can't afford it anymore after the woke era fallout and the fact that, well, audiences don't want to buy out cinemas anymore. So what did Bucky have to say? Well, it turns out he went to cry in France. And why? Because he says the Orange Man, President El Trumpo, is destroying the world. Hello, fellow friends, and welcome back yet again, where we continue to pop the bubbles of Hollywood and bring them back kicking and screaming to the sensible center, the mainstream middle, where money is made, away from the dogma and back into the light. All right, folks, it's up to you. Click that like button, send this out far and wide across the YouTubes, and remember, you're the gigawatts around here. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at this. We've got a situation on our hands. Hollywood cannot afford to go to the Cannes Film Festival anymore. They basically pulled out of the thing. Why? Because the woke era has damaged the studios so badly, they didn't make the money they needed. And this spring has been a real win for them, but it still stings that they have lost so much of the past few years. But a few celebs did decide to go. And one of those who decided to go to La France was Sebastian Stan. That's Sebastian Stan, of course. And he's got a real case of TDS. Sebastian Stan on Donald Trump. It's just not a laughing matter. We're in a really, really bad place. The star told a Cannes press conference for Fjord that he's still purging from the role that last brought him to Cosette and the festival playing Donald Trump in The Apprentice. So this guy has a real case of TDS. He's also a Marvel man as we get ready to go into Avengers, what is it, Doomsday now? Jonas, who does Sebastian Stan play in the MCU?
He plays James Buchanan Barnes.
He plays the President of the United
Bucky.
States?
Well, that's his name, James Buchanan Barnes. He's Bucky.
Bucky Barnes. Okay.
Yeah.
Bucky Barnes. All right. So Bucky Barnes, we'll just say that from now on. Bucky Barnes told a Tuesday press conference at the Cannes Film Festival that he's still purging from the role that last brought him to the festival playing Donald Trump. So in other words, he's been vomiting ever since that film because he had to play President Trump, which he wanted to play that role. It almost could not come out because it was so bad. It was actually terrible. Let me switch to variety real quick because Sebastian Stan gave an interview in France about the President of the United States, President Donald Trump, the MCU star. And remember, Marvel right now needs all the wins they can get. Marvel's not over at the Cannes Film Festival. Nobody really is. They need all the wins they can get. But they are filled with people who cannot get over the TDS. Do you all remember the clips about Down with Democracy? Do you all remember that? Here's Sebastian Stan, Mr. Wannabe Mark Ruffalo. Here's what he's had to say in France at the Cannes Film Festival, where Hollywood is hurting, but he is bringing the best of the TDS.
It's just not a laughing matter, to be honest. It isn't. You know, it's, I think we're in a really, really bad place. I really do. And to be honest with you, it's like...
He doesn't look good right now.
Nope.
When you're looking at what's happening, right, which is, if we're talking about the consolidation of the media, censorship, the threats, the supposed lawsuits that seemingly never end but don't actually go anywhere. You know, the writing was on the wall. We encountered all that with the movie, you know, to the point where we were 3 days before the festival unsure if the movie was going to play at the festival. So, you know, it's... maybe people are paying attention more to that film. I think it will stand the test of time for that. But we went through all of it way before Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert and so on, you know. So, wish it wasn't like that.
So this guy's a millionaire. He's a multimillionaire. Yeah. But he comes across as a guy who is, you know, being bludgeoned in the back alleys. If everybody that's around him lives this way, they live in a fantasy nightmare of their own making, where the orange Godzilla seeks them out inside their minds. And this is why Hollywood has been destroyed. This is totally pathological thinking on display, Caro. This guy he doesn't live in the reality that's around him. And the reality around him is far better than how he is living. What do you think about it?
I mean, there's a crass part of me that wants to dismiss it. It's like, you know, cry your tears and your royalty check kind of thing when he's talking about how terrible things are. And, you know, I think I'm not going to say like Hollywood's not feeling pressure from the government in various different ways. I know there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes in that regard. So it's a lot of pressure. And then there's also the fact that we have to consider he's being told to say things if he wants future jobs. So we don't even know if this is an authentic version of what he actually wants to say, right? It's just kind of like my tinfoil hat once for Brie Larson was that the stuff that she was saying around the Captain Marvel time frame wasn't actually her. It's what she was told to say, right? So I always take what celebrities say with a bit of grain of salt. But honestly, I think it's a lot of BS right now. I think he's just making a talking point and he's trying to make it seem like things are harder than they are. I mean, he's a great actor. I just watched him act. It was quite moving, you know, but that's about the extent of it. Also, if they really wanted to get an actor to play Donald Trump, Saturday Night Live has one that does it like on the regular, and I haven't seen him need like therapy or help for it at all. So maybe they should contact him.
I think if this is the way that you are walking through life, I mean, there are people who disliked President Biden, or at least disliked the people who were handling President Biden. I don't remember any of them walking around crying. I don't get this. This is a total defeatist attitude that this guy has, right? I mean, I actually respect the Ruffalos and the Mark Hamills even more than this. This is sad to go to France and be like, guys, I'm a multimillionaire. It's really bad. It's really bad. Like, we put out that terrible movie that wouldn't make any money. We almost couldn't put it out over here because people said it was a really bad movie.
Speaking of
Grow up.
I actually think that David Putty, what is that guy's name? Patrick Warburton would be an awesome Bucky Barnes.
What's a Bucky Barnes quote? What does Bucky Barnes say?
He really doesn't have any good quotes, does he?
No, he doesn't have a catchphrase. He needs a catchphrase.
That's how you can tell Marvel's not serious anymore. They wanted to get away from, I could do this all day, and now all they have is an entire superhero team with anxiety and depression.
What is going on with this guy? Here he is at Cannes in a tux, looking like he's ready to cry. Like, is he living this way? If we go over here to Film Crave, what is this? The casual Kim Jong-un? Like, what is this outfit we're wearing now? What is going on with this dude? I don't know. I don't want to pick on him, but it's, you know, I don't understand why Hollywood, why some of these stars, why they want to live in a world where there's this fake monster at their giant mega mansion doorstep every single day. And then the way this reads to me, and panel, tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm an average American trying to get by in life and I hear the multi-millionaire telling me it's really bad, it's really bad, as he steps off his private jet in France, it's a hard pill to swallow if I'm an average American.
It doesn't invoke empathy at all. No.
Can't relate.
Yeah.
Can't relate. So, but I mean, it's kind of like when we were talking about, you know, with Alec Baldwin, it's like this, it's deeper than just entertainment. This TDS stuff is very real. It's something that encapsulates their being. They can't help but insert it somewhere instead of talking about maybe how he prepared for this movie and that it may be because of political differences, it was difficult for him to step into character. Instead of elevating himself and saying, I stepped out of my comfort zone and became somebody that I detest. And that was a growth point in my career where I realized I could elevate myself to higher heights. Like that would have been, I could respect that. Like you became a person you didn't like for your job, right? But instead of going that route, it's like, man, I had a hard time. I struggled. I made a lot of money, but I'm still purging from being the person that I was.
Well, I'll tell you, I've got a psychological theory on this. Culture, tell me what you think about it. My psychological theory on this is the reason it hurts them so is not necessarily President Trump. It's because they fancy themselves as the most important influencers on the planet. They fancy themselves, their place is on the pedestal, and Americans listen and behave according to how they engage. And this man tried to put out a hit piece film just before the election, and it was supposed to change everything. And this is how they perceive themselves, right? There's a very high propensity of narcissists in Hollywood, because if you want to be in front of a camera, not everybody's this way, but if you want to be in front of a camera, the proclivity for you to perhaps be narcissistic in your tendencies is higher than the general population. And I think for some of these celebrities, the idea that they not only did they not influence the market, but they may have had an anti-influence. It drives them crazy. I think that's the psychological pain they experience.
I'm going to be less kind than everybody who talked before I did. And I know that's surprising to everyone.
I can't believe this.
But yeah, no, this is just mental illness. I'm sorry. It just is. It's a disassociation from the reality of the everyday. And certainly that includes the things that you mentioned. I mean, he's certainly a narcissistically driven human. He's also been, as Carol was speaking, told what to say, just like I would say that both, oh gosh, the horrible Avengers lady, what was her name? Brie Larson, who's redeemed herself quite well recently. And,
I thought you were going with Alfonso there for a minute. I was like, okay, where are we going? Which one is it?
I
this
mean,
time?
I'm glad she's gone.
Okay,
but no, it's just.
Alfonso.
Yeah.
You mean Carlton?
No.
Victoria
The executive lady there that was put into a fake position.
Alfonso, thank you, Jonas. That was great. All right, Culture, keep going.
Anyway,
Almanzo from Little House on the Prairie. He's the one to blame for all of those Marvel movies flopping.
See, I get undermined at every point. It's fine. I just want to say, look, it is various forms of mental illness and self-importance and things like that. It like you said, I feel like they've lost influence. They know it. We saw somebody lashing out about that less than 2 weeks ago. His name was Robert Downey Jr., who was, like whining about losing influence. Well, he did. They did. They all did. They've all lost relevance. And they no longer are the quote unquote political tastemakers because everything we've tasted in their, at their behest has tasted like dog duty. And not good stuff. Podu, I think, to say it the Star Wars way.
He has the look of a defeated man, Culture. The last time he was there, he was promoting the Donald Trump thing that was supposed to change the course of the election.
Yeah.
He's back 2 years later, and all of his Hollywood friends are gone. Everybody's gone. Nobody can afford to be at the Cannes Film Festival because markets have ultimately rejected them. So he's there as a failure, trying to gin up the resistance, and nobody wants to play along anymore. They don't feel sorry for him.
Yeah, I feel like, he cut his hair that way because he wants to appear like he's somebody in Schindler's List or something similar. And like I said, they're all broken. They're broken because their point of view lost, because they're so singularly minded, and they don't allow for the open-mindedness that's required to consider another person's opinion, direction, and or belief system. Instead, they cast the people that disagree with them as the villain in the story, and not identifying that perhaps they should leave room for themselves as the villain. And this is the problem with modern Hollywood today.
One thing I think is interesting, because we're talking about how these celebrities think that, the Orange Man is the boogeyman and stuff like that. But like, not that I'm best friends or I have them on speed dial or anything, but like some of the celebrities that I've talked to, they have actual concerns, like stalkers that try and break into their houses, right? Yep. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of remarkable that they're more afraid of a government figure than an actually mentally ill person who thinks that they need to be married and put together for the rest of their lives, and will keep them in the basement during that time and trying to get into their house. Right? It's wild.
It's why I laugh at people defending, the people that are breaking into their, people's cars on the street in Los Angeles, and stealing from them. It's why I don't blame people like Gary from relocating from San Francisco, which is a
wild stream to watch.
Yeah, a feces riddled, environment that is full of nothing but drugged out, insane humans that are doing nothing but trying to get their next hit of whatever it is. And I get sick and tired of all of this stuff. And like I said, Sebastian Stan's maybe one of the worst representatives, of this kind of mental deficiency.
The Hollyweirds don't understand how it is we do what we do, bringing you video after video every single day of the utmost highest excellence and quality. But folks, we do it because of you. We appreciate you. You are seen and heard here on the Pro Channel. Make your voices heard, folks, by doing one last thing before we say goodbye for a short time. Consider clicking the like button. Share, subscribe, and you know what? That notification bell, click it and stick it to the algorithms. Also, drop a comment down below and let us know your thoughts. And don't forget, folks, We've got even more content on the way. If you'd like to become a member, it's just the price of a soda per month, and you'll gain access to all kinds of exclusive content beyond what the public sees, including archival footage of the Pro Show that goes away after just a few days from its public release. Folks, we hope we get the honor of spending time with you again soon, and until then, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.